All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about the three most important things that it takes in order to create a successful real estate business. If you want to create success in real estate, you must have these three ingredients. You will not create success if you do not have these three ingredients. And this is a question, I get all the time. People jumping in the industry or that are maybe in the industry, been in the industry for a while, maybe they hit a plateau and they're like, man, they start questioning, like, do I have what it really takes? I'm like, these are the three things that it takes. If you have these three things, within you, then you will create success however you define that. And when I say success, look, whether that be, building a brokerage where you go out there and, build it to thousands of agents and create something massive, or you create a mega team, or maybe success to you is, hey, closing 20 deals a year or closing 12 deals a year. I don't care however you define success, because who the hell am I or anybody else to define what success is to you? What I am saying though is, in order for you to create, hit your goals, whatever your goals are, and create success based on how you define that, these three things are an absolute must. And this is what the vast majority of those that I see struggling, or that 87% of real estate agents that fail within the first 3 years or several years, these are the three things that I see them missing, when it comes to this business. Now, you can have two of the three. It's like, think of this like a three-legged stool. You remove one of the legs, then boom, that thing falls over. Like, you got to have all three. All three components are essential, and they may not be what you're thinking. Yeah, there's a lot of other additional things that can definitely help our success. Right? Like having our systems and processes dialed, and, developing our skill sets, and, building out a brand, and getting our CRM dialed in. And there's all these other additional things that will help create success. These different additional tools that will help you scale and allow you to be more effective and allow you to be more efficient. But that's not what I'm here to talk about here today. Today I'm here to really talk about, your wiring. Yeah, right. The traits that you must adopt, that you must have, and maybe you don't have them, but they can be adopted. I can promise you that. I have seen people adopt these traits. So whether they're innate or not, these are things that can be learned, that can be mastered, that can be implemented, that can be taken inside your business. So real quick, before I get into and do a deep dive into these three traits, if you are a real estate agent, team leader, or brokerage owner, and you're interested in learning more about partnering with me, where you get 100% full access to all my coaching, all my training, all my mentorship, 100% for free, as well as my business partner, Mike Sherrard's coaching, who is the best in the world, hands down, at social media, AI, growing a real estate business through YouTube. We get all of our training 100% for free. There's going to be a link below. We can schedule a 100% zero pressure. So I'm not going to try to recruit you, not going to push you, not going to pressure you. Just, hey, here's everything that we're doing. Here's how we work. Here's how we operate. Here's what we got going on. Answer any questions that you have. If you think we're fit for you, great. If not, that's okay too. Also 100% confidential. So there's going to be a link below. It's the show notes or the description, depending on where you watch or listen to this, where you can go ahead and book that call. And I highly encourage you to do so. This is a massive opportunity. Got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Worst case, isn't for you. Cool. We're still friends. We move on, right? We had a chance to jam with each other for 30 minutes, right? On this quick Zoom call. So if you want to take advantage of that, that link is below. Okay, so let's jump into these three things. So item number one, trait number one, thing number one that you must have dialed in, like you must adopt, you must have in order to create success in real estate, is a burning desire to succeed. Now, as I said earlier, a lot of people might hear that and think, "Oh, well, man, I don't care about being a freaking multimillionaire, billionaire," or I'm not talking about that. Like, who the hell am I? Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, who the hell am I or anybody else to tell you what your goal should be for you? For some of you watch and listen to this, you're like, "Hey, if I can make 100 grand a year, that's life changing. If I can make 200 grand a year, that's life changing. If I can make 500 grand a year, that's life changing." Then you have some of you that are like, "Hey, I only want to make a million. I want to make 5 million, whatever it is per year," right? Like, only you can define what success is for you. But in order to create it, you have to have that burning desire. Napoleon Hill talks about this very heavily in Think and Grow Rich. It's one of the best books ever written, at least in my opinion, on the path to creating success in just life, business. But then you have, okay, like Tony Robbins talks about this all the time too. He's like, look, until this area of your life goes from a want to a must, it's not going to happen. We don't achieve what we want in life. We achieve what we must achieve in life. So you got to get it to whatever that goal is, whatever that target is. Like, get it to that point where, like, this is a must. I must achieve this or do everything I possibly can with the time and energy I have to make this a reality. So you got to get it to that point. Got to get to a point where it's just like, hey, there is no, oh, I hope to hit that. I talk to so many agents. I'm like, okay, what are your goals next 12 months? Well, I hope to hit 30, but if I hit 20, that's okay. Closing's a year. I'm like, okay, well, like, is it 20 or is it 30? And then like, why if we fall short of 30 of what you're telling me your goals are, why is that okay? Yeah, right. Like, like, no, like we got to make this where it's finite. Like, here's the number that I need to hit. And look, I will be the first to admit I don't hit my goals all the time. And most times I don't. I don't hit them that first year that I set them. But then I usually blow past them that second year, that third year. I just don't abandon them, right? So I don't want to sit here and say like I'm somebody magical. It's like my first year in the business. I plan on, my goal was 52 closings, a deal a week. And I fell short of that. I closed 48, but then the second year I closed 103. So I blew past that. You know, um, so this has to become that must. And what I recommend that you do is just spend time in solitude. One of the issues that why so many people, and more so than any other time in my life that I've had, people reach out where people, and this isn't just me. This is, when I'm talking to psychologists, psychiatrists, that I learn from, and whatever, because I try to do everything I can to master human behavior, and when it comes to that. So they're seeing this too, massively seeing this, and it's because of just video games, cell phones. Like people today can't go to the bathroom without their phone. They can't spend 5 minutes in the grocery line by themselves, being bored without checking their phone. So people can't sit in that solitude and be silenced. And when I say people can't, they can. They just choose not to, right? So in order to get extreme clarity on what you want, sometimes you got to do a dopamine detox. Yeah, right. Sometimes you got to cut out the noise. I'm not saying like a full dopamine detox, but I'm just saying you got to cut out the noise. You got to spend time in solitude. You got to, go through the pain. It's not really that painful, but you got to be able to like just sit there, blank sheet of paper, writing out what is it that you really want. So I always look at, okay, what are your 12-month goals? What are your 5-year goals? What are your long-term goals? What's your exit strategy? Like, look, you're gonna like, I always look at all of this like we're climbing this mountain. Every day when we're doing our daily actions, that's just us taking our steps. So we put one foot in front of the other, we're taking these steps. Right. Then I look at strategy. Our strategy plan is making sure that we have the right trail to get from here to where we go. But if we don't have extreme clarity on what we want long term, well, yeah, we can have the right strategy plan to get us, to the top of that mountain. We can do the effort, take the steps, but then we get to the top and realize we climbed the wrong damn mountain. And I made this mistake multiple times throughout my career. And this is why I stress this, when I talk about this in the podcast with, a lot of passion and vigor and energy, because I don't want you to make that same damn mistake, man. It's like I built myself, into where I had a jail cell, right? So instead of building that metaphorical empire, I built a damn prison where I was miserable. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't want it. I didn't want, whatever. Even though I was, taking massive action, doing all those things, I was taking the wrong action on the wrong things. I was climbing the wrong mountain. Yeah, right. So you want to make sure that you're climbing the right mountain. So, what I recommend that you do when you're getting this clarity is, okay, where do you need to be in 12 months? Like, okay, like that's doable, that's achievable. It could be a stretch goal. But it needs, like, if you're a brand new real estate agent fresh out of school and you tell me I want to close 500 deals, my first year. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I don't want to say nothing's impossible. I just have no evidence of anybody ever doing it. But maybe you're like, hey, I want to close 50. I've seen some that have closed 60. I had a coaching client close 84 deals in his first year. Like, I closed 48 mine. I've had coaching clients beat me on that. So now that's hard. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of effort. It is possible to make 500,000 your first year in this business. It's not normal, yeah, right, but it's possible. So it could be a stretch goal, but like something that is like realistic, right? Like, hey, if I work my ass off, if I'm extremely focused, if I'm driven, if I do everything right, right. We'll make some mistakes along the way, but like course correct fast and whatever, right? But if I do those things, then bam, I'm gonna hit my target, hit my goal, right? So then when I'm thinking about that, like, okay, like what would be a win if December 31st or 12 months from today, right, you're high-fiving yourself doing an awesome job. Like, what is the one thing that if you do, it solves all your current problems over the next 12 months, or at least gets you on the right track? So like maybe you're not making a lot of money, you're in a lot of debt, whatever. It's like, okay, like, hey, what's the amount that gets you out of that debt that then allows you to sleep good at night, where then it just gives you oxygen to breathe so you can think clearly and you can start enjoying life again. I'm not saying that money brings happiness, but what I've discovered, at least for myself, is that there's a certain amount of money that we all need to make to be able to experience happiness. Because when you're stressed and freaking out over bills, and you're late behind bills, like, it's very difficult to like go to a backyard barbecue with friends and family and enjoy yourself because you're stressed and freaking out. Been there, too many times. So then for your long-term goals, okay, like 5 years, yeah, right? Thinking about, okay, hey, in 5 years, like, what do I want my life to look like? Yeah, right. Our real estate businesses exist to allow us to build and create a perfect life. Now, most people, unfortunately, on the work till I die plan, work all day. They can make a lot of money in this business, but they're working 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, then they have no quality of life. And so really thinking about this full circle, like, hey, what's my, like, design, like, what's your perfect day? What time would you wake up? What's the first thing that you do? What's the second thing that you would do? Would you be working? Yeah, right. Like, would you actually be working in the real estate business? And if you are, Okay, what time would you get in the office? What activities would you want to be working on? How much money do you want to be making? So that's kind of your mid goals, right? So we got, immediate 12 month, mid goals 5 years. Long term is what's my exit strategy? Like what am I going to do? I was talking with a buddy of mine the other day that just partnered with me, and he said to me, he goes, Josh, I've been to a lot of agents' funerals, but I've never been to one of their retirement parties. And that hit home. Like I've been doing this 20 years. I know thousands and thousands of realtors. I've never been to anybody's retirement party in real estate. There's a saying out there that real estate agents don't retire, they expire. Yeah, right. They're on the work till you die plan, or work until Social Security kicks in and then live, paycheck to paycheck for the rest of their lives. Right. So we want to be methodical with that. Like, what is our strategy? What's the vehicle? What's the plan? Right. Then from there, really start visualizing it, really start thinking about it, obsessing over it. This is why I'm a big fan of vision boards. I know they're kind of like, oh, it's like kindergarten cutting out that, I want that shit in front of my face all day long to remind me why I'm doing this stuff. Right. So number one, you got to take your wants, turn those into musts. Make sure that you really want them, right? This is why clarity is so important. Make sure that you're climbing the right mountain. Get crystal clear on what winning looks like for you in 12 months, 5 years, long term, and then turn that want into a must. Yeah, right. Because again, we don't, as Tony Robbins says, we don't accomplish our wants in life, we accomplish our musts. So number one is you have to have the burning desire to succeed, to make your goals reality. It's got to be a burning desire. Like you need to obsess over it. You got to think about it. You got to, like it should be consuming your thoughts. Like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? What do I got? Like, I got to get there. I got to hit this target. And this again doesn't need to be innate. You may not be an obsessive person naturally. I wasn't either until I got to so much pain of sick and tired of being broke. I didn't being a freaking loser, feeling like a loser. I guess I was a loser, right? I got so sick and tired of the path my life was going. I developed a burning desire to turn my life around. Okay. So then number two, hard work ethic. Got to have a hard work ethic. Now, when I say this, I do not mean that you got to work 80 hours a week. Now, if you want to fast forward your success trajectory, it's like the saying out there that if you want to live like nobody else, you need to be willing to sacrifice several years of your life to live like. So you got to live right now, for a couple of years so that we can live the rest of your life like nobody else is able to live. Like we've all heard those sayings. But maybe you're in a situation where you got a full-time job, real estate's your part-time hustle. Okay, well, that's still like maybe you got 40 hours a week there. You're allocating 20 hours a week to your real estate business. That's 60 hours. That still takes good work ethic, right? But then within those 20 hours, you got to work hard in those 20 hours. It's like no waste of time. It's being laser focused. And I've seen agents, I have coaching clients that have made, with a 20, 30-hour work week, Monday through Friday that are making 250 grand plus a year, but we don't waste time. We got their schedule, we got everything in place, systems. Like we do not waste time with that time that we have. It's funny. Sometimes I'll have a agent partner that will come to me and say, man, when I was part-time, I was so regimented. I was just, whatever. But then they got to the point where they're able to drop their full-time job, jump into real estate. They started getting lackadaisical and they find themselves retracted with their business and making less money than they were when they were part-time. And then of course we got to reverse that right away. We got to get them realigned and that's just how life goes. An airplane spends 90% of its time in the air, adjusting the nose to the target. And why? Because of turbulence. We have turbulence in life. Things happen. So we got to make those adjustments. But you have to have a hard work ethic. Like, dude, like so many people jump in this industry, think it's going to be easy. Or another thing that I see, and this is very common right now in this, extremely difficult market that we are in. When I say extremely difficult, it's extremely difficult for most, right? Because they're not pivoting, they're not changing, they're not adjusting. The biggest opportunity we'll probably ever see, is happening right now before our eyes and is going to happen over the next several decades. But we gotta plug in, we gotta take work on it. So I'll talk to agents. I'm like, okay, well, how'd you build your business? Well, open houses. Okay, well, why don't you do open houses again? Well, I feel like just where I'm at in my career, I've been doing this 15 years, 20 years. I shouldn't have to do those anymore. Well, dude, like get your damn ego out. Like ego stifles more success than anything else. Or like, oh, well, I'm afraid what this stranger is going to say on the other end of the phone. Dude, it's a nothing to lose, everything to win scenario. If they say yes, can have a positive impact on your life and your business. They say no, your life remains unchanged. Like just get over it. Just get over your ego and just get to freaking work. Okay, number three, you must be coachable. You have to be coachable, right? I'm not saying to be listen to everybody. Like one of the secrets, if there's such a thing, is to not listen to the vast majority out there. Only listen to those that have created what it is that you want to go out there and create. So I'm not going to go listen to, I don't know, take advice from somebody that hasn't created the success that I want to go out there and create, right? So we got to make sure that we're picky. I'm telling you, like, okay, 90% of this industry probably hasn't created the success that you want to create. 70% hasn't closed a deal in the last, 12 months or whatever it is, according to NAR. So you go to these Facebook groups, you ask a question, you get us advice. Dude, who's giving that advice in these Facebook groups? Like I see all these free Facebook groups that have hundreds of thousands of agents in there. Who's giving that advice? Probably agents that have nothing to do, that are bored, that think they know everything. Yeah, right. That are giving you advice that aren't creating success in their own life. Like, I spend time in some of these groups just because I'm looking at questions to see of like what content create. I've never seen any big player that at least that I know. There's a lot of big players that I don't know, but any big player that I've ever known that's ever commented on any one of those. Why? It's not because they're like, oh, I don't want to share my information. No, they're busy putting damn deals together. So get advice from those that have created the success that it is that you want to create. And on high level and low level, right? So like low level means strategy. Um, so it's like, okay, if I want to go crush with open houses, okay, who's proven to crush with open houses? If I want to crush with Facebook ads, who's proven to crush with Facebook ads that can learn from reverse engineer? Who's crushed with probates, who's crushed it, whatever the lead source is. And then at a high level too, how I want to create a real estate business, meaning, it's not relying on you, right? So would that be a team, rev share, organization, brokerage? Okay, who's created that success before me that I can learn from their mistakes, so you gotta, but then being coachable means two things. Number one, you got to remove the ego, not thinking that you know it all because you don't, because otherwise you'd have your own private island somewhere. Like nobody knows it all, right? So number one, got to understand that we don't know it all. Number two, we got to then be willing to go out there and get the right advice from the right people. And then from there, we got to be willing to go out there and execute on it. Right? So like taking advice is just useless if we don't execute on it. Right? Like information without implementation is just the start of delusion. Information only becomes power once we take that information, we take action on it, we execute on it, then that becomes power in our lives. So but so from there, it's like when I say coachable, okay, you got to identify the right coach, the right mentor, and it doesn't like I know a lot of you that might be watching, listening to this. I know there's a ton of you that are massively successful that can afford a coach. There's somebody that may not be in a position to afford a coach. I didn't say you got to go out there and hire a coach. A mentor can be somebody that's a rock star in your office, that maybe you have a trade for. You do some free work for them for some free mentorship. Right? You help them with some of their showings. You do whatever. Right? Books, podcasts. There's so many different ways to get knowledge, but just making sure that you're learning and getting information from the right people. Right? But then from there, the other part of that coachable is you got to take action on it. If you have somebody that says, okay, I want you to do this, this, this. Like I have coaches for every aspect of my life, health and fitness, my mindset, business. When my coaches tell me to do something, I don't question them on it. I just execute on it. Like I hired them for a reason. I did my due diligence. I made sure to have the right person and I make sure to have the right mentors, the right people in my life. Because again, I have a very strict rule. I will not ever take advice or listen to anybody that hasn't created the success that I want to go out there and create. Doesn't mean that some of their success might be valid, but it's too risky, right? Like to me, it's just like, dude, like if they done it, they know it. And they know, not only do they know how to do it, the easiest thing to figure out is how to do something. What's very difficult to figure out is what not to do while you're doing that thing. So they know the goods and the bads, right? They know what they did to create it, but they also know all the mistakes that they made. That's what I want to find out from them. What did you do? What were the mistakes that you made that I can avoid? Right? Because I know that if they've crushed it, if they killed it, and they spent 10 years or a decade just getting this thing dialed in, okay, I can reverse engineer it and learn it within a month. 10 years that it took them, I can master that in a month, right? By having, the right mentor and by being coachable. So those are the three overall items. If you don't have all three of these, like, okay, you might have the burning desire to succeed. You might have a hard work ethic, but you may not be coachable, right? Okay, that's it. That's a ingredients of failure. The three-legged stool is still going to fall over. Maybe you're coachable. Maybe you have a burning desire to succeed, but maybe you're lazy mofo. Okay, that ain't going to work, right? Like all three of these must come together. And if you combine all three of these, dude, the future's endless, man. The opportunities are endless. Like you can create whatever it is that you want to create, however big it is that you want to create this to. That's up to you. You decide, but then like you have these three things, everything else can be figured out. And like I said earlier, man, yeah, like systems are important and strategies and all those things are important. I found if you have these three things, all those other things will come into place. You can have everything else in the world. You can have the best systems. You can have the best, whatever. But if you don't have these three things, it ain't gonna matter. right? Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Again, if you want to learn more about partnering with me, where you get 100% free full access to all my coaching, all my mentorship, all my support to help you accomplish your goals and just skyrocket your success, as well as my business partner, Mike Sherrard, who's the best in the world at social media, YouTube, AI. So if you want to learn more about what this partnership opportunity looks like, when I say partnership, I'm not talking about like us partnering up or you're part of my team or anything like that. No, we're a behind the scenes coaching support, organization that's going to help you build your business and scale your business. And you get 100% full access to everything that we offer 100% for free to help you grow and scale your business. If it's something that you're interested in, below is going to be a link in the show notes or the descriptions where you can click that to schedule a one-on-one Zoom call with me. It's going to be 100% zero pressure. So you're not going to be recruited, not going to be pushed, not going to be pressured. It's also 100% confidential because I understand, when we're looking at making moves, like we got to keep this stuff confidential. And like I said, it's an everything to lose, nothing to gain, or everything to gain, nothing to lose, scenario where it's like, okay, look, if you decide that this is a better opportunity for you, right? Because the thing I get a lot is when I'm talking with other agents or team leaders or whatever, is well, I'm happy with my situation. I'm happy with where I'm at. Well, good. I would expect you to be happy there. If you aren't happy there, I would expect you already left. What if there's a better opportunity? What if there's a better way? What if there's a better opportunity for you to go out there and, really crush it, hit your real estate goals, build long-term future wealth, have additional revenue streams? Like what if there's just a better overall opportunity? And that's all I'm here to talk to you about. And if it's a fit for you, great. And if not, that is okay too. You have my word. You will not be pushed, pressured, sold, none of that. We can still be friends. You just want to walk you through what the opportunity looks like. And again, if it's a fit for you, great. If not, that's okay too. So there's that link below. We can schedule that if that's something that you want to do. All right, guys, keep crushing it. And I will talk to you soon. Peace.